Welcome back. It's another beautiful day and I've got my coffee, so let's watch some stuff.
Did the Emerald Tablets really reveal secrets of the universe? The Emerald Tablets, or the Smaragdine Tablet, is an ancient Egyptian artifact shrouded in mystery and legend. Believed to have been written by Hermes Trismegistus, a legendary figure who was said to be a combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, these tablets are believed to contain secret knowledge about alchemy, astrology, and other esoteric topics. The full contents of this mysterious document remain unknown as they have never been definitively translated from their original language. What is known is that the Emerald Tablets describe how humanity can become enlightened through understanding cosmic energies such as fire and air. It also purportedly contains instructions on how to use various magical powers for healing physical ailments or achieving spiritual enlightenment. It has been suggested that it may even contain information on advanced technologies like teleportation or time travel. Despite its many mysteries, one question still remains.
There's always one question that remains, isn't there? Actually, in this case, there's so many questions. I have a lot of questions. I went down a rabbit hole last night and I found out a bunch of stuff about the Emerald Tablets and the pyramids, and we're going to get into all that stuff in the next few days just because it was intriguing as hell and I want to share it. But as far as the Emerald Tablets, they said that there's a way to make gold, and it's like a 3 to 8 years process or something like that. It sounds way too complicated and totally not worth it. But we'll find out. Hey, I just wanted to take a second to tell you how much I appreciate you joining me for today's coffee talk. If you're having a good time, maybe you consider hitting that subscribe button and come back tomorrow because I am making a new video every day.
What if I told you the Great Pyramid of Giza was actually a power conductor? We've been taught they were built to house the tombs of pharaohs, but 0 mummies have been found in the Great Pyramid. In fact, 0 mummies have been found in any pyramid, ever. There are some theories that the pyramid was actually an ancient power plant of some kind, and there's actually some evidence to support this. For example, the pyramid was originally capped in a material called electrum, which is a metal alloy made of gold and silver, which happens to attract lightning. There were also water aqueducts that used to run underneath the pyramid, and scientists have confirmed that running water under crystal granite, which was used as the base of the pyramid, results in generating physiostatic electricity. Then you have the King's Chamber, where there's a very unique red granite box. Now, we've been told this is a tomb, but there is 0 evidence of a mummy ever being inside. And there are theories that this box was actually built to store the Ark of the Covenant, which has been speculated to have been extremely radioactive. And there's also evidence of chemicals that were used in the pyramid, such as sulfuric acid and ammonium chloride, which create hydrogen when mixed together. The theory is electricity generated from the base would pass through the King's Chamber, mixing with the hydrogen gas, converting the atoms into microwaves, which would then be transmitted through the outer shell of the pyramid and then be collected by surrounding obelisks, which also had caps made of electrum. So did ancient Egyptians invent the first power plant? There are also theories that Moses stole the Ark of the Covenant, which could explain why the Egyptians went after the Israelites after freeing them. It could also explain why the pyramids were abandoned. But what do you think?
Now, I was pretty beside myself when I heard that there were no mummies inside of these pyramids, because I had been taught, as you know, as most people my age were, that the pyramids were built for the kings, the pharaohs, and it's a load of crap. That shocked the daylights out of me. And the way they're talking about how these were potentially power plants, it's mind-boggling. But we are learning more every day. We are getting smarter as a species, but these were definitely built by someone who is much smarter than we were, much smarter than we are today. I did find a lot of information on this on a YouTube channel. It's Mind FKD, okay, with Patrick James, and the one I watched is the Great Pyramid Mystery, and I watched that last night and it was fantastic, and it just set me off. So check it out. It's really cool, and I do have a few more, so let's see those.
I'm going to go back as a geologist once again. The catastrophic event theory that now has a lot of evidence of a comet impact. We were coming out of the ice age and Earth was beginning to warm as it would cyclically. All of a sudden, and this is quick, you see this drop where the temperatures on the planet drop quickly and we plunge briefly into another ice age. But what also happens during that time is there's a rapid rise in sea levels that are happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a lot of sense until you begin to look at the evidence. It appears that this comet that impacted, scientists have been resistant to accept this theory because they'd say for something that big, it'd have to leave a big hole in the ground. They're assuming it was one piece that hit Earth. What we now know is there were some big pieces, and they have now found the craters in Greenland and Newfoundland, but now they have found hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of smaller craters all the way from Greenland and Newfoundland, all the way down across Europe, down into South Africa. And when they go to do the geologic testing of the craters, what they find are high amounts of standalone platinum. This is important because, first of all, platinum is a rare element to begin with. When you find it on Earth, it is generally with another mineral called iridium. Iridium is a transition metal in the platinum family. There is no iridium, suggesting, and scientists now, they say this in the open literature, this is of extraterrestrial origin. It's not terrestrial geology. It's incoming.
This is the Younger Dryas theory, and I had never heard of this before. And if you haven't, then check it out. It's some really cool stuff. So about 12,000 years ago, supposedly we were hit by comets, and we weren't here. The previous civilization was here, and it rapidly changed the water levels, and it caused the ice age to end and then snap back into an ice age, which is really interesting because they say that comet strikes cause cooling. So it's like it flash melted stuff and then it flash froze again. That's why a lot of stuff just got wiped away. That's a pretty cool theory. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but yeah, I'm still looking into it because it's really interesting, and I want to share it with you as I learn more.
Digital immortality is starting now.
So this is an example of what's going on here.
That's right. Telepathy, telekinesis, uploading memories, recording dreams. We can, quote, do all of the above. This is no longer science fiction. You go to the physics laboratories and you can see how images can be extracted from the human brain. How it's possible now that we can upload memories in animals and record memories from animals because physics can now probe thoughts as they go ricocheting through the brain.
Is what you're describing the same thing as consciousness? Because if that's the case, then we can say it's not just our thoughts that live forever. It's our very identity, our self, our conscious self that lives forever.
Well, there is a theory that says the soul is information. It's a vast amount of information, but nonetheless, it's information that can be put into holographic form such that even if you pass away, something there survives.
But theoretically, that is effectively immortality. Once you reach that point, that is you living forever.
Why not have digital immortality? Wouldn't you want to talk to your great-great-great-great-great-grandkids who want to meet their great-great-great-great ancestor?
It depends what.
That's a few extremely brilliant people talking about something that is extremely terrifying. How would you live? Like in a computer, you'd live inside of a computer. Would you be cognitive? Are you aware of what's happening around you? Yeah, I realized I was just redundant. But do you know what's happening? And then you can't even touch anything. You can't hold anybody. But then I guess the thought is that eventually they're going to be able to re-download your consciousness into another body, like a cloned body. Ooh. That's still not cool. That reminds me of that movie, Selfless, right? Where Ben Kingsley had his brain downloaded into Ryan Reynolds, and then his reality was coming back, or Ryan Reynolds' real past was coming back. That's not cool. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I got off on a tangent there. Sorry about that. But still, I don't know how incredible that is. I mean, it's just in the hopes that one day we'll be able to put you into something else and you can be alive, or do they just talk to you like typing through the computer, like wanna play a game?
This is huge and might cause some existential panic. This is no ordinary game of Pong. It's being played by human brain cells grown in a petri dish, and the brain cells are trapped in a simulation. These mini brains consist of 1 million brain cells placed on top of a system that analyzes neural activity. Pulses of electricity are sent from the simulation to indicate where the ball is in the virtual world, and the mini brains fire off neurons to move the paddle back and forth. Brain cells trapped in a perpetual dream. We're creating our own matrix.
That's not a dream, that's a nightmare. That's a perpetual Pong nightmare. That's horrible. That's so terrible. And if these like brain cells like evolve, I mean, I guess they're held to a point where they can evolve. What if they do evolve and they're just stuck in there playing Pong forever? What an existence. Oh my God, I bet they're like, kill me. Just let me go.
Is cryogenically freezing someone possible? Theoretically, yeah, there are slightly different methods, but for the most part, you die. Your fluids are replaced with a kind of antifreeze, and then you're placed in a tube with liquid nitrogen. There are lots of problems with it, but the biggest is cell damage. A red blood cell, for example, sits in a water solution. If you just freeze a body, that water hardens into ice crystals and will damage and crack the cells. There are some species that can counter it with antifreeze proteins, and studying those compounds has helped us develop chemicals called cryoprotectant agents. CPAs are what we use for vitrification, or the transformation into a glass-like state. It's the science we use to freeze sperm and eggs. The problem is the levels we'd need to freeze an entire human body are toxic. So basically, we have all these people who are cryogenically frozen, but we're not entirely sure we did a good enough job that they'll wake up. There is no concrete evidence that Walt Disney was actually frozen, but Red Sox Hall of Famer Ted Williams' head was, along with an estimated 500 other people. The future would not only have to figure out how to unfreeze them, but also bring them back to life. There are aspects here that make sense, and there are a lot of different scientists approaching it from a lot of different angles. So it's within the realm of possibility, but not for these people. If the technology to cryogenically freeze people proves to ever be successful, it will be a different process than the one used on them. And it will be with people who are alive. Benadryl Cumberbum.
Yes, it's kinda yes, but kinda no. Like they're not 100% certain if the people that are frozen right now are going to be able to be thawed out properly. I mean, they had already passed away prior to them being frozen, right? I believe so. It's like 90 grand, I think, to do that, to have yourself cryogenically frozen and, in hopes that you're going to come out of it and they'll be able to resuscitate you and revive you. I don't know. That's so crazy. I sure as hell wouldn't want to be frozen. What about you? Doesn't sound like a good time to me. I guess it doesn't matter, huh? Because if you're already, you've already kicked the bucket, you can't unkick the bucket. I mean, not only do they have to learn how to unfreeze you, they have to learn how to unkick your bucket. They can unkick the bucket. I don't know. No way.
When you went into Gemini and asked, show me some images of our founding fathers, a curious result kept popping up. The founding fathers weren't white, they were black. Which, there's nothing wrong with being black or white, of course. But one is factually correct and one isn't. And the AI was persistent in its biases across a wider range of categories. What did this reveal? The AI just reflects the biases of its human creators. See, the thing about AI is it's generative. It creates new content that even the human beings didn't directly create using a computer. That's what makes AI different from prior forms of human-operated technology. But that AI, still in its very DNA, almost the way that it thinks, is programmed by the very biases that its creators infuse into it. Now, what you've learned then is that the biases infused into that AI are none other than the cultural orthodoxy that pervades the rest of Silicon Valley, of the modern woke orthodoxy, taught to apologize for our nation's founding. Systemic racism, starting in 1619, not 1776. You've heard the whole 9 yards. But now that woke bias isn't just something reserved for a DEI training session in the HR department, but is reflected in the very content that the engineers themselves are creating, the very algorithms they're writing, that are programming the AI that'll write the history books of the future.
This is this is basically the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. So whoever has the power is the one that is in charge. And whoever is creating the AI is going to make the AI think in a specific manner, in their manner, whatever their manner may be. So that is why we are erasing history, to make it inclusive. Certain people are erasing it to make it inclusive. Our more recent history. And it's going to be a battle of AI. There's going to be the ones that want to be inclusive and the ones that want to be factual. And probably some religious groups in there making AI. And then there's going to be AI wars. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if I want to stick around for that.
This is a huge controversy in science at the moment. We know that there was enormous flooding 12,800 years ago. But the question is what caused it? There's a very powerful theory, which is now backed by more than 100 mainstream scientists, that the Earth passed through the debris stream of a disintegrating comet. And that theory is called the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. And those several bits of that disintegrating comet might have been pretty big, maybe up to 1 kilometer in diameter. And they landed on the North American ice cap, generating huge amounts of heat. Tremendous shock wave hits the ice cap. And it turns that ice into water, and it rushes down southwards, fills up these lakes, overflows these lakes, and tears up the landscape underneath it. And this Younger Dryas impact hypothesis is by far, in my view, the best explanation of what's going on.
Pretty crazy, bro. The fact that he said it rose the water up and caused the Great Flood, technically.
I have another video that's a little more in depth, so watch this and then I'll tell you what I think.
Plato, which is the earliest surviving reference to Atlantis, he puts it this way, that his ancestor Solon visited Egypt. It's historically recorded. That visit to Egypt was in 600 BC. And there Solon claimed to have been told by Egyptian priests about this great advanced civilization that once existed and was destroyed in an enormous flood. And Solon asked those Egyptian priests, when did this happen? And they said, 9,000 years ago. That's in 600 BC. That's 9,000 years before 600 BC. That's 11,600 years ago. That's exactly the date of the end of the Younger Dryas, because the Younger Dryas begins 12,800 years ago with a cataclysm, with a puzzling, mysterious rise in sea level at the same point, 1,000 years of freezing temperatures, mass extinctions of animal species all over the world, and then 11,600 years ago, global temperature shoots up. The last of the ice caps collapse into the sea. Sea level rises enormously. That is precisely the date that...
I guess I was a little right. I was a little rudimentary about it, but I was right. So it did have the sudden melt, which was the cataclysmic event of the Younger Dryas. And then there was the refreezing, and then there was a sudden thaw again. And I've seen something that says they think it was a solar flare, which caused the thaw at the end. But we'll get into that. It'll be cool. And this guy is Graham Hancock. I have notes here, so that's why I keep looking over here, because I can't remember anything to save my life sometimes. So this Graham Hancock, we're going to watch a little bit more of him. I really, really enjoy what he says. I'm going to have to look into his books and see what he's got going on, because I would really like to learn this stuff. It's a super cool theory, though. And there's a lot of evidence actually supporting it. And it said that event is what wiped out the earlier civilization. So that was our restart, our Earth's reset. That's going to be the end of it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Here's my cutting room floor. 3, 2, 1. And everything has to be perfect. Or maybe you can throw me a quick thumbs up and tell me your favorite 4-letter word in the comments. There's always... Hey Siri, reply to my son. I'm recording.
Okay, sending.
We're going to delete that. We're going to start over. And turns out it's a load of crap. It's a load of crap. Pretty much everything we learned in elementary school, aside from math, was crap. And it's sad. She's so, energetically, optimistically pessimistic. I love it. I guess it's just the world that we live in now. I'm terrified of what's coming because it's so bad right now. They were probably frozen before all the crap that we got going on now. And they're going to wake up and be like, what the actual F? What have you done to the world? This generation's screwing it up. Waking up, I want it to happen in my lifetime. I keep looking outside, just so you know. There's outside happening right here. I don't know why we have to change that. I'm not ashamed of it. Nobody should be. It's just the way that it is. I'm not going to go back and edit it because I don't care if I make mistakes. Okay, I care if I make some mistakes. That's why we have my cutting room floor. But I don't care if I make mistakes like the one that I did because I was kind of right. I'm just going to leave it in. So there was, the cataclysm is a cataclysmic event. And we're going to find that. We're going to go through that. That's good too. I need to stop looking over here, and I do apologize about that. I just keep doing it. I have notes here, so that's why I keep looking over here, because I can't remember anything to save my life sometimes. And yeah.
All right, so here we are, day 2. Gonna get these bad boys off and get some ground going on. All right, now, don't laugh at my backyard situation. We have big dogs and they tear up the grass. So I'm gonna go to the one spot that I do have some actual ground. And yeah, I'll stay in here for about 5 minutes.